Hey guys, so this is part 6 I think now. Um, the idea of this video is to kind of recap over everything really, from the very first video a week before the operation to today, where I'm now nearly 24 hours out of hospital. So just doing all that sort of stuff. Do you want to say hello, Tyler?
Who?
Do you want to say hello?
Hello.
Oh shoot, that's me boy. So yeah, I'm assuming that if you're watching this, you've probably watched the other installments and things like that. I just want to sort of reflect over the last, what is it, 10 days, something like that, about the last 10 days. You know, when I first started this, like I said, the idea was to make these. So I can't get any peace around here. It's just interruptions all the time from people. Oh right, you're on Skype. Yeah, the idea was obviously to sort of log my thoughts and feelings and how everything was going with each stage of this journey. And I've got to be fair, as I'm pretty sure most of you can imagine, it's been pretty much the hardest thing I've ever had to do, to go through all this. There's been a lot of emotion on the way. For me, emotion really happened yesterday when I got back to my folks' place. But we'll come on to that. If you're in this similar sort of position and waiting to go through with a similar sort of op, obviously you can see my new decoration to my face. It's not bad. 32 staples, a number of dissolvable internal sutures, don't know how many, might find out in a couple of days. But you know, it looks pretty tidy, to be fair. So a week before, we've sort of found ourselves prepping. We had a lot of people saying, "Oh, you don't need to prep for all these bad things, and I don't know why you're doing this, that, and the other." But the truth of the matter is, I'm an extraordinarily positive person. I find the good in pretty much anything that I can. I'll find the silver lining, and I'll take the positive out of that, and I'll use it to help me get through whatever it is that we're dealing with. This was tough, trying to find the positive in going forward with all of this. But again, the positive was that hopefully that someone may get an insight into what they may be feeling, what they may be expected to go through. So that's a big positive. And if that happens, then great stuff. So yeah, a week before I went down, you know, we're wrapping things up because we're away from home. It was getting things sorted for the kids going back to school, getting the house all sorted, making sure all the filing was sorted, so that if anything bad was to happen, my wife wouldn't have to rummage through mounds and mounds of paperwork. She was able just to find things that she needed to find quite easily, just causing less stress. I started at that point making goodbye videos as well. That still hurts having to say that. But we did them all the same.
You alright?
Again, more interruptions from people. You just all bugger off somewhere while I do this, please.
I didn't know you were doing it.
Alright, go on, shoot.
Oh, no, sorry. Right.
So a week before we started doing that. And I'm glad that I did those for everybody. Although they will never see those videos, they know they've been made. But for obvious reasons, they will not see those videos. I thank James Harris, my adopted brother, for all of his help and support, because those real tough things that I had to talk to someone about, he's the person I spoke to. He's the man that I could always turn around to, not because I couldn't turn around to anyone else, but he just knew, when we were Army brothers. So it's just like that. And also to Carl Denham as well, who was also looking at taking on a portion of responsibility if the worst was to happen in helping Jodie with some stuff. So I thank you both wholeheartedly. And I think it's important that you do find these people to share stuff with. I explained when I was on the way back from hospital yesterday to everybody that the reason I may have been a bit pig stubborn in my ways of doing things was simply the fact that if those closest to me started to see me break and started to see me crumble under the pressure of things, that then is going to have that sort of knock-on effect of fear, and it will spread. And they may have been drawing strength from my strength. So you kind of have to really just suck it up. Well, I felt that I had to anyway. Really suck it up, because I knew that come recovery time, I needed them to be strong. I could then have a moment if I needed to, and crack on like that. And thankfully, obviously, currently, touch wood, everything's going to plan, which is nice. I made sure that the night before the operation, it was Tuesday the 26th, when we were in Cambridge, me, my wife Jodie, and my folks who were there with us, we went out for a nice big slap at meal. Frank in bed, as I probably mentioned that in another video. But that was good, having a nice 3-course meal, fill your tummy up, waiting to be nil by mouth and all that sort of stuff. But having a good feed was very, very satisfying, which was good. Obviously, then moving on to the operation day, I was shitting bricks. It was face it head on, as that's how I do things. Suck it up. And it was obviously very difficult when I started to say goodbye to people. I said goodbye to my I don't like to say the word goodbye. See you later. I said see you later to my sister and the kids on the Tuesday afternoon, and then we drove down to Cambridge. And again on the Wednesday morning, it was about 8:30, I think it was, something like 8:30, 8:45, where I got wheeled into the anaesthetic room, and I said bye to my wife and my folks. And again, that's when I was away from them. That's when I could really feel it in the pit of my stomach. This being led away to you don't know what, and that was really difficult. So expect that if you're going to go down that. If you're unfortunate enough to have to go through a similar thing, it's not, obviously it's not a nice feeling, being led away like that from your loved ones, but it's got to be done. You can't run away from it. It's got to be done. So we they led us away. They led us away, and I had some fantastic nursing teams with me who were wonderful. They were really, really nice, really friendly guys, just chatting away to them. That was nice. Again, I don't know if it was the room was cold, because all you've got on is your gown, and that's it. They pretty much just, that gets almost taken off you anyway, so it's just literally resting across your private area. And I was trembling. I don't know if I was trembling because I was cold or because I was scared. I'd like to think it was probably a bit of both, really. In all honesty, I've never had the general anaesthetic before, and they sort of already had the cannula in my hand, and they do their typical thing, and they inject the bit into your hand, said you're going to feel a bit woozy, and likewise I started feeling woozy, and they put the mask over my face, and they said, you because I said to them I don't know what to expect from this, and they said you will not know what's happened. You will in indisclosed amount of time you will wake up and you will hear voices, and it's as simple as that. And it's really hard to get your head around that sort of loss of time, but that's exactly what it was. You know, the injection went in, the mask went on. I can remember talking to them, quite awake, woozy, but I was awake. I don't remember shutting my eyes. I don't remember anything. My op was, I think it was something like 4.5 hours or something like that. And the next thing I knew, I could hear some voices just like they said, and I opened my eyes, and there I was in recovery. And that was it. I remember looking at the clock, and it was about 3:45. And I was lucky enough. I've seen my wife come out of anaesthetic before, and she's very sort of she's very out of it, sort of in and out of consciousness, falling back to sleep again. I bang, snap of fingers, I was awake, like a proper fireman. I had a cup of tea in my hand within minutes of being awake. No toast though, just tea, a nice sweet cup of tea. So if you don't normally take sugar in your tea, if they offer you a cup of tea, have a sweet, have 2 sugars, just get that bit of energy into your body, because your body's going to need it. It might not be the nicest thing, and drinking cup of tea through a straw is novel, but it's not the best way of drinking it. And one of the first things I remember after they offered me the cup of tea, I asked then, I need to speak to my wife, because I knew that they would have probably informed her or whatever, but I needed to tell her that I was me, and things like that. So they gave me a phone, they dialed it for me. It was just wonderful hearing her voice and letting her know that I was out. And then I remember sort of after that, I'm talking away to the nurses, and because it's obviously eats your brain, and you're told that, you know, you could forget things and all that sort of stuff. I remember sitting there and reciting passwords in my head, email addresses, anything, times table. I was doing the times tables in my head, just trying to make sure my brain would still fire. I did forget the security code to our gate at work, but I did remember that a couple of days later. So as of yet, I've not noticed anything that I've genuinely forgotten, which is a relief. So I'm dead happy about that. The nursing staff said, when they wheeled me through to my family, said that I've been, you know, laughing and joking and making them laugh, which is the sort of person I'd like to think I am. Nice and easy going. So again, it was another sort of confirmation that the person that woke up from the op was still me. Then going through the coming days, the first night was crap. I was on half an hour obs until midnight. There was a room of 6 of us. From midnight through till 6, I was on 1 hour obs, and then I went to 2 hour obs till midday, and then I went on to 4 hour obs after that. So that first night, trying to get some sleep is just, oh man, it's not happening. I also had some leakage from the lower part of my wound here, and I'll give a big shout out to the boys there with a big whoo on that one, but they'll know what I mean by that. Ignore that, that's just me being immature. So I had to have padding put on there, and then that ended up having to be changed and then wrapped around my head to stop the oozing of the wound. And when I woke up in the morning, because when you've come out of the operation, the swelling hasn't really had time to set in. I woke up in the morning, it was like having a vice on my head, this tight bandage, and they released it, and it was bliss to have this sort of release of pressure from your head. But again, another thing that I hadn't been told about is that they kind of clamp your head in place in quite a physical way, with quite a physical. I don't know if you can see it with the camera. I've got a mark here on my forehead, and I have 2 on the back of my head as well. And they wrench your head in such an angle to get the right position for it, and then it is literally viced in. And those vices, as far as I understand, they pretty much go right, and you go through your skin, because I've got some good scabs from it, go through your skin and onto the bone to physically hold your head in one singular place. So that's quite weird. And all the sensation throughout my head is changed. You probably see me scratching here, because here it's itchy, but it's numb. And although it's itchy and I can feel it itching, I go to scratch and I can't feel jack. around the point of my forehead's fine, that feels normal. The points on the back of my head, they're totally numb still. I was told by my surgeon that because of the way the incision goes through my head, that the nerves ordinarily run in one direction, but now they'll run in a different direction as they're knitting back together. So I'll experience some different sensations in my head and things like that. Then over those coming days in hospital, so I was on the ward Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I would always err on the caution to, again, anyone that's watching this and has been told how long your operation is. So I was originally told that my operation would be a minimum of 12 hours and I'd be on the ward for a minimum of 7 days. I was dead lucky. I was out within sort of like 6-7 hours, but that includes getting put down and being in recovery as well. And then again, I came out of hospital yesterday. So I had sort of like 3 days on the ward. I was very lucky. I still looked at the fact that I would still be in hospital, regardless of what the doctors were saying. Until I had that piece of paper saying I was leaving, I still looked at the fact that I would be in for 7 days, because anything else is always better. So if you always err on the side of caution, if they tell you it's going to be that long, just say to yourself you're going to be there that long, because if it's anything less, then it's a real big morale boost, which is wonderful. So yeah, we went through that. Then over the sort of the coming days, you'll notice again, if you go through similar ops, waking up is horrendous. I sort of slept at a 25-degree angle the time I was there, when I could sleep. And when you go to sort of vertical into a nice sitting position in the morning, the change of blood pressure, because I can feel the vessels where they've obviously cut through them and things like that, and then reattach them. I can actually feel the blood surging and pulsing through those veins and arteries, or whatever it is, those blood vessels in my head at times. So you've got to be really careful. It feels awful, feeling the squelching in your head. It's not nice at all. I also noticed that my hearing in my right ear was dumbed down a bit. That slowly started to come back, I think, again because of the trauma. The ear canal probably got a bit swollen up, or around the ear canal probably got a bit swollen up. So it was like having a bit of a blocked ear from a cold. So again, something to watch out for. I had asked anyone that come to visit me, I want junk. Kit Kat chunkies and things like that. Nice big chunky bits of chocolate, Cadbury's Marvellous Creations, that sort of stuff. Lo and behold, the wonderful people that came to see us, they all brought stuff, and I could not eat a single piece of it. If you put your hand on the side of your head here and start just biting, you will feel that muscle moving all the time. And it is one thing that no one had said to me to be aware of, was the fact that because they're going to do something with that muscle, they're going to cut it, they're going to do whatever they're going to do to it, you don't even think about eating. So for my entire time in hospital, it was just mush was all that I was eating. Macaroni and cheese, jacket potatoes. I had to scrape all the potato out so I could, because I was no way I was going to be able to chew through like the potato skin. So again, just be aware of that. And yeah, it is difficult, because again, you're not informed of these sort of things, and that's what I'm hoping that this can maybe enlighten people about. And then it comes to sort of I think I covered in one of my other videos about you do your physio test. All that was for me was they checked my hands and my feet in recovery, and they all worked fine. And the physio on the Thursday took us out for a little walk. And passed all that fine first time, which was really lucky. And I just wanted to make sure that once my catheter was out, which is, again, boys, I'm guessing the same for girls, it doesn't matter what they say, it bloody hurts when they take it out. I'll tell you that now. It's not comfortable. But once that was gone, and you're not sort of restricted to your bed anymore, because I'd been taking off my drip and my oxygen during the first night. Once that's out, and you just want to just make sure that you can still be you can still walk around and still do all the things that you need to do. So again, Cambridge is Addenbrooke's is a brilliant hospital. I've got a big food court downstairs. It's the sort of thing you'd expect to see in a shopping centre. So I would find that at certain points when people come to visit, we'd try and get down there, and that might require a bit of it in a wheelchair. On the Friday, I managed to walk down to the food court, kind of paid the price a bit on the Saturday morning, was quite tired, but the way I kind of look at things is the fact that you're never going to know where that physical limit is until you get there. So I knew that after that trip down to the food court and back, that you know, I was that was my limit, and not to push it much further past that. So, you know, Saturday I was very lethargic in the morning, and then I got told that obviously I should be leaving on Saturday as well. As with whatever the blessed NHS says, and they do such a fabulous job and work in such crap conditions. But when they say the doctor will be around in 20 minutes, stick another 0 at the end of that, and the doctor will be around in about 200 minutes. Because all it takes, especially if it's at a weekend, you know, they go down to, you know, limited staffing, whether they say they do or don't. You could see that there was limited staffing there, and they work their asses off, bless them. They really, really do work hard. Don't be afraid to ask for the additional pain medication. I was just on the ibuprofen and the paracetamol to get to sleep. I had to have Oromorph, so it's like a liquid morphine. So I was having that at about 10 o'clock. That tended to take about 20 minutes to kick in, but it would run out sort of 3 o'clock in the morning, and you'd sort of like get the drugs round when they do your op, so maybe about 4 or 5 o'clock, ask if you want any more paracetamol. If you find the pain is quite a lot, ask for some more. Don't be afraid to ask for more, because it's, I mean, for me it was the only way I could possibly get any sleep, because the pain is a lot. You know, it's a lot to deal with. So Saturday we were thought that I'd get discharged around about 11 o'clock. We ended up getting discharged about 7:30. There was a bit of a mix-up with prescriptions and stuff like that, but left anyway. Got myself back to me folks. Was lucky enough that I was able to put my kids to sleep last night, because I hadn't seen them obviously since the Tuesday afternoon. That was just wonderful, having a kiss and cuddle off them. It was just amazing. Sat down, tried to eat some dinner, opened up at this point to my wife and my parents about, you know, everything about the Good Vibe videos, and how I'd sorted people to sort things, and all that sort of stuff. And again, why I'd done things the way I wanted to do them. I'm not saying the way I did them was right, but they were right for me, and right for my family, which, you know, they might work for others. I don't know. So that was quite emotional. Got some, you know, lovely cards. I was not going to open any get well soon cards until I got home and was able to start getting well. So if, you know, you had sent me a card and I hadn't said thank you or anything like that, I do apologise, but I only opened them last night, because I wasn't going to open a get well card until I'd gone through it all and was starting to get well. I didn't want to jinx it, as daft as that is. So we did that. Got some lovely pictures from my nieces and nephews and things like that, which was wonderful. I treasure them. This morning my steroid dose had changed, so I'd started before the operation I was on 4 little steroid tablets in the morning. My 3 days in hospital I was on 2 steroid tablets. This morning I went down to 1. Really nauseous this morning. Was not fit. I had not bad night's sleep, to be fair. Best night I've had, because obviously I wasn't on the ward. But yeah, felt very, very rough, very nauseous this morning. That sort of sicky hunger that you get when you're hungover and you're not sure whether you want to puke or whether you want to eat. I had to err on the side of caution, because with this being attached to all these muscles up here, if you puke, you're going to stretch and strain these muscles, retching, and that was the last thing I wanted to do. So just took my time. I've been just having ready break in the morning, because it's going to give you that extra bit of go throughout the day. So I've been having that nice sweet cup of tea as well. Keeping my water up, drinking lots and lots of water, constantly going to the toilet, like I've mentioned in other videos. Be aware, anyone out there, that if you do suffer with your bowels and things like that, and you are quite sluggish for going to the toilet, you're on a lot of painkillers, and painkillers can tend to cause quite serious constipation. So just make sure you're not make sure you're not afraid to tell that to the doctors, because they can prescribe other stuff that doesn't necessarily cause such problems with your bowels. It's the last thing you want to be doing is having half your head stapled together and you're sat on the throne straining away, and you end up popping a blood vessel or something like that. I don't know if you could do that, but that's it could easily feel like you could do that. So yeah, this morning felt rubbish. Jumped in the shower this morning. My wife helped me there, and that feeling of the water. So I couldn't use any soap on my head. So washed down first of all, made sure there was no sort of soaps or anything about then, and sort of like squatted down in the bath, and she just held the shower on my head, not too close to get too much pressure, but to feel all the little bits of water touching your head when it feels so weird anyway. It was bliss, absolute bliss, and really then fired me up for the rest of the day. Had a bit of lunch, and then went on from there. Been wheeled around Tesco today in a wheelchair. Had some very peculiar looks off some very concerned looking kids, but onwards and upwards from here. And what I'm going to look at doing now is with the vids, probably put up once a week, just covering sort of like that last week and progress and stuff like that. Just one little last glimpse right down to my ear roll here, all the way up and around. Start to see my desert head coming through on top. But yeah, thanks guys, thanks for staying tuned, thanks for staying the course with us, and if there's anything I can do to help anyone, please just shout. More than happy to help anyone. But thank you guys, take care.